All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another We Read the Documents live subscriber live stream. Your host, John Brissa. Thank you for being a subscriber. Today, I have on with me two dear friends of mine and research partners, people who I hold in very high esteem. One being Ryan from the YouTube channel Real Sports History. Definitely go to his YouTube channel and subscribe to his great documentaries exposing the fakeness of sports and sports betting, as well as someone who you guys know that has been on this channel frequently, which is S90. So I'm glad to have y'all both here with me this afternoon. How are y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on, John.
Of course,
Great to
Ryan.
be here.
Anytime.
Doing good as always. Thanks, John.
Of course,
Nice
S90.
to see you, Ryan.
Yes.
So this is something all of us have been following for a while now. All of us have been talking about for a while now. It's been years. It's been years that we've discussed kind of the basis, the thesis of one of probably Alexandra's videos on the root of all evil, which love of money is the root of all evil scripturally, but kind of like what they call the quantum financial reset, leading to the quantum financial system, or the Saint Germain Trust, if we're discussing from a theosophical standpoint, which will be the new currency system of the New World Order within the beast system. And, we've had various discussions over the years of what it may look like. We still aren't coming here, to 100% say we know exactly what it's going to look like. But we do know through the externalization of the hierarchy, which Alice Bailey said was going to occur in 2025, it looks like that is occurring. That there is kind of controlled disclosure coming out to initiate the masses and to be ready for the beast system, and one of them is the usdebtclock.org website that has been around for many years, many years. It's run by the Durst family. We're going to discuss the Durst family briefly, but it seems to be here recently in the past year or so that they started putting secret messages within the U.S. Debt Clock website that is very QAnon operation oriented, very theosophical oriented, very New Age oriented, and looks like preparing the way for Donald Trump's return, whether he is or not the Antichrist, and the ushering in of the Great Reset, which is occurring right now, giving us from the Federal Reserve to the quantum financial system that all of conspiracy, its truther movement, conspiracy movement, has been initiated in with the fall of the Fed to some sort of gold-back, silver-back currency in the Fed. Ron Paul, Council for National Policy, Freemason Ron Paul, who recently appeared back on the Kabbalah bracelet wearing Tucker Carlson, the catalyst, to discuss a quote unquote black swan event that Flynn has been pushing as well. And so, the conspiracy culture has been inundated in the destruction of the Federal Reserve, and what replaces it afterwards being we the people type currency, right? So we definitely see that going on, or at least will be happening in the future. What it'll be completely be made up of, whether it's XRP or XLM or WorldCoin or whatever, we don't know yet. But it is eventually occurring, or will eventually occur, I believe.
And I think it's interesting to point out, really, like as a side note, real quick, 2 seconds. The other people who also talk about quantum financial reset and Gassara and Nassara, like David Wilcock and stuff, but they're taking like a UFO or a technological angle rather than a financial angle to it. They're also pushing out, 2024, 2025, the aliens will come, this will happen, Nassara is coming. So all the various conspiracies that funnel towards quantum financial reset, even though they're in different sectors, different compartments, the UFO compartment, the financial compartment, they're all funneling towards that date as well. It can't be just a coincidence or just an accident. I mean, anyway, I just thought that was interesting as well, that the other people are also kind of giving the same date as well along the way.
And I guess Harvey Barnard's book, Draining the Swamp, was published by the Nassara Foundation, right? Then we had the
Yeah,
mystical,
yeah,
we
yeah,
had the mystical aspects of Nasara Gassara, and his
yeah.
beliefs of Nasara as well too. You know, the mystical aspect being pushed by the Ranthwa School of Enlightenment, as well as which is Jay-Z Knight, and the Dove of Oneness, even on Jeff
Yeah,
Rentz's
yeah, Dove of Oneness.
show.
The Nasara Institute that published it, that was a reprint of it in 2005. The original was from something called Allodial Publishing in 1996 from Bakersfield, Louisiana. I have been able to find nothing, literally nothing. I don't know who runs it. I don't know anything. I'm trying to find it out still, but yeah, there's more to it than just there's more aspects to it, more tentacles than just financial tentacles, and they all seem to be pointing to the same kind of region and time in our future, and that kind of is a little nervous, makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, it's weird to me because like my earliest memories of pretty much anything in conspiracy culture go back to the mid 90s and one of the very 96 or 97 and one of the very first things I'd say that maybe the two things that I remember in the earliest days was Behold the Pale Horse
Hmm.
was always there, and the other thing was as soon as online conspiracy culture was happening, I remember hearing about Nasara, and couldn't believe it at the time because it seemed so far-fetched that even people who believed in conspiracy stuff or who were looking for any type of truth or answers would somehow believe that everyone's going to be freed from this debt system, everyone's going to be rich overnight. You have this huge amount of money that's just sitting there under your Social Security, that's just waiting to be released to you. All of the riches of the world that have been stolen forever are really belong to you, the people, just waiting to be released, and that this is going to happen, and that this whole message was being brought down to humanity from ascended galactic masters.
Yep.
So this whole
Yeah.
thing has been going on for 30 plus years. And for somehow, as soon as they were in, and I don't know what the original roots are or when the very first mention of this Nasara thing goes, but I know in my personal experience, it was there from the very first things that I saw. And I can't believe that it poked its head up again now. Like, wait, they're still gonna try and use this now? They're bringing Nasara back? Like when I saw that, I just couldn't believe it. Like, and not only was it just Nasara, a national version, that it was just Sarah, a global version, that we're now going to go global. This is not just United States. Like when my first incarnation with it was that it was for United States. It was Nasara, right? And this went to your social security number, you as a United States citizen, and all this stuff. Now it's expanded to globally, right? For the New World Order agenda, it's just Sarah. And you'll see everyone promoting it equally now. Nasara, just Sarah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But that same backing of the Ascended Masters thing. Now, at the time, I knew nothing about Saint Germain or, how, and anything to do with as far as Republican Party tying into esoteric beliefs was like, yeah, we knew Ronald Reagan and his ties to astrology and his advisors, but didn't really know that they actually have this, narrative of ascended masters appearing at all these American events in history, guiding the presidents, that this is, this galactic plan. Right. So that's how they've been selling this. Now we know that they've had this plan for a while. They just keep evolving it as the tech evolves. They keep adding new things. Right. So back then they didn't know it was going to happen. So now that we have crypto, now that we have these things in front of us, and now that we can see the tools of how they are going to bring in the taxman total control system, now it's like now they're putting these pieces in place. But if they were really so enlightened, they would have had that stuff a long time ago. They would have been saying that back in the 90s. Instead, it wasn't, they didn't know that. It was just like they just been building on this, as it goes and adding to it. And now here we are, where they've all, like you were saying earlier, all the conspiracy theories are funneling into this one giant thing. And this is what it's going to be, the quantum financial reset. This is how they bring in the new money. This is how they, do the sleight of hand trick of the old, then bring in the new system, but it's just the old system rebranded, but it's new. No, this is the fake light for the dark solution here. So
Yeah. I think you said something really great there. You said that they didn't know, they don't know the future. They don't know that crypto's coming around. And so they build on this plan without knowing. Like people seem to ascribe to them all these amazing powers. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're oracles, they're psychic, they're immortal, they're aliens, they're Atlanteans, yada yada yada. No, they're not. They're just people. They don't know anything more than we do, and you can tell that they're winging it. You know, they're doing the best with it. And like, don't get me wrong, they're doing a great job of fooling the people. I'm not saying they're stupid, but
Yeah, I
you know,
think it's what
they're
this is
not.
what they've done the whole time, right? The intelligence agencies, they're just scooping up the talent, scooping up the ideas, and then adding it into the agenda as they go. They
Yeah.
don't know it's coming. All they know is they're going to be able to get a hold of the talent. They're going to they will get a hold of the tech. They will
Mm-hmm.
either, you will either assimilate to the plan, or you have no morals, you sell out, you become a part of their thing, or they will just take your stuff, your patented stuff, and kill you and wreck your lab and wreck everything you have and wreck your life. And they're going to get the tech one way or the other. And they didn't know how they were going to do this. And what they did was they open sourced everything. They also had no ability to write this type of a complex conspiracy theory. They had to open source it. So what did they do? They got all the open source conspiracy theorists for the past 20 years
Yeah, that
since
was
they started the
McChrystal's idea. But go
to
ahead.
give
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
them all their ideas to
Mm-hmm.
put this together. Oh, you guys
Yes.
are all researching to solve this.
Yeah.
No, it's not what we're doing. We're open sourcing everything. So we're going to write this big, gigantic theory that takes everything you guys believe and use it against you. We have no idea how we're going to make up this new financial system, but guess what? Look at all these people creating one. We're going to
Yes.
let them open source the whole development of crypto. And if
Mm-hmm.
you don't open source your code, you are somehow against the ethos of crypto. How dare you keep your code secret? Well, guess what? Who owns crypto now? BlackRock and the Fed and the central bank and JP Morgan and everyone else, because you open source the development. This is what's happened time and time again. How do they own music? Well, they go into a music scene and take it over. It was, yes, it was an organic, real movement at one point. Then it got co-opted. Like everything, every piece of tech, every piece of art, they could just co-opt it, use it for the agenda. And then it seems like they made it when they didn't have to make anything, because they can't make anything.
No,
And
I mean, you're right in that regard. That we saw at least in the modern time, the plan of McChrystal, Flynn, and Robert David Steele, and pushing open sourcing, especially in the 2010s, and especially during the rising of the QAnon operation, and
Yeah.
Cambridge Analytica 1.0. With getting Donald Trump elected initially 2016. I mean, that's when you had the rise of NESARA GASARA, which, NESARA meaning National Economic Security and Recovery Act, you know, GSARA just global, just replace global with national. But they're pushing. They were pushing it then. They were pushing that you had to have your intention binders and get your numbers and your Iraqi dinar, or your Zimbabwe dollars, and the Iraqi dinar will be reevaluated, and you'll have billions of dollars to do whatever you want because your heart is pure with your intention, and you'll be able to help all these people. And it's just strictly New Age. It's completely New Age, and people are being duped 1,000% into it. Because I believe it'll be tied into the mark of the beast. I think the mark of the beast, won't be just enough money to survive. I think anybody who takes the mark, I think they're going to have
everything.
Yeah, they're going to have everything.
Yes. Yes. Everything you can desire. And dang it, I had something there. What was it? Shoot, it disappeared. Oh, right. Yeah, there are tiered levels to who will receive their GASARA money first. So they say like they what is it? Oh gosh, it was almost Scientology sounding. It's not this, but it was like operating level 4 players will get their GASARA money first, and then it will move down to the third. Like, okay, yeah, this is for everyone, but there's still like a caste system forming. You would get your 800 numbers that you redeemed at the bank in a specific order, right?
So yeah, if you could prove that you were philanthropic enough or a leader powerful enough, but part of the Great White Lodge instead of the Black Lodge, then you would be accepted into getting your money. Like they had subgroups of who would get their money first.
That's still a thing, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like the NESARA channel. Yeah. They still have a tiered system. It almost reminds me of that silly AI thing where it's like those who serve it best will be its favorite lieutenants. It's the same thing, right? If you serve the system the best, it will reward you the most. And they tell you that ahead of time. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Just a game plan, just a way you play people.
So Ryan, what do you have on the Durst family? You want to briefly go over them?
Well, like with them, you basically have, like I said, a million red flags in every direction. It's like, where do you want to go? If you go, you just look, you look back at the family. They come, you have Joseph Durst, like the patriarch, first generation back patriarch. And here, now, one interesting thing, besides the debt clock that the Durst family runs, is this Old York Library,
Hmm.
which is like this massive museum of all these incredible documents. And, his reason for starting it is total smokescreen BS. But this place is absolutely massively culturally important, the stuff it holds. And I had never known about that. But anyway, um, looking at them, you have let me find this list of kids here. There's the one kid who becomes the murderer, who they write several documentaries about. Actually has he's like a celebrity character as
Talking
a
about Robert
murderer type
Durst.
person. But this other Peter Askin, I don't know, how he got this name change, but among the interesting relatives of the Durst is this Peter Askin, who's an actor, director, producer, screenwriter, best known for directing the film Trumbo. Now, it's a Oscar award winning. This is about a screenwriter who was one of the what do they call them? The Hollywood 10, right? The guys who refused to testify before un-American American activities for
Hmm.
communist involvement. So this is, you know, even like on fringe stuff, you have this, hagiographic, like making these communists look good is still what they're doing, you know? It's like, okay. Yeah, I said murderer brothers. You have the father of Douglas Durst, who's the one who ends up running the organization. The father of him, his background is running besides, they get massive amounts of prime real estate in New York, Class A office space, all throughout New York through super sweetheart deals and even eminent domain, where they're buying these, insane properties for pennies on the dollar or just given to them. Now, that I haven't really looked into how they got that level of connections, but again, we're told come from nothing, have nothing, and all of a sudden they're given interest-free government-issued Liberty bonds under Pataki and used eminent domain to grow all of these huge real estate interests they have. So they have a massive amount of New York real estate to begin with.
Well, we're told that
Rob,
Joseph Durst, his family immigrated from, they were Austrian-Hungarian Jews,
yeah,
and he worked
yeah,
as a
well,
tailor and just happened to work his way up as a tailor, and eventually supposedly becoming a full partner in some sort of dress manufacturer.
right. So the funny Wikipedia quote, his father is a tailor who arrived penniless to the United States, eventually becoming a successful dress manufacturer and
Hmm.
then expanding into real estate management and development. Now, this next part. His father was also active in the Jewish community, serving on the executive committee of the Jewish Education Association and serving as president of the Hebrew Free Loan Society for 27 years. Now, this Hebrew Free Loan Society, yes, gave out interest-free loans. Now, you look at their page now, they try to make it seem like, oh, this wasn't just for Jews and Hebrew descent people. We've helped other people as well. But interesting that he runs an interest-free loan society for Jews for 27 years. That's what he did. Again, from penniless to now you control loaning money. No real, explanation of how that happens, but okay, fine. Then the Durst organization itself becomes absolutely massive, mainly because of its real estate holdings, mainly because of its connections to New York government. They are just given um, all of these holdings. Now he becomes the biggest kind of New York vocal critic of the debt. And in the 80s, he installs the first national debt clock billboard in New York,
Hmm.
right? And the debt at that time was 2.7 trillion. So now, if you watch his interviews, he's not a very dynamic individual at all. He is very dull. He doesn't seem, he has very little passion. His, like, as far as his economic concern, does not seem like, you know, too great, but he does this, and it definitely has a massive effect on people's consciousness. It is a big consciousness affecting thing. Now, it's there's a funny side story in the debt clock history that there's a time period where the debt reversed. It was going down, and they didn't know how to. The clock was only programmed to go up.
Yeah.
So they couldn't reverse it. They actually had to cover the clock with a big tarp for years until the debt got back to that amount, and then they uncovered it again. So it's really only built as a scare tactic to begin with, right? There was never any intention in this debt clock that the debt will go down or things will get better. It's really just there to make you afraid, right? It's not for real. Like, if it was, they would have had controls on it. Like, oh, we're going down, we're getting better. No, it was never programmed that way. So I thought that was interesting, right? So it's always been like I said, instrument of fear from when it started. And I said, to me, this guy didn't seem like he had real concern with the economy. There's something else going on, and there's something bigger about affecting the consciousness of New York and anyone who interacts with this debt clock.
Yeah, because they're gonna see the numbers, and it's gonna put some sort of anxiety, into them. There's a lot of people that, are worried of when the financial system implodes, and I'm not necessarily, cheering for that day to come, but I don't live in fear. I rely on God, and so and then you see kind of like the modern debt clock, with the website and the app, and how they're pushing kind of like new age beliefs, and I guess we'll go through some of them. So here is the Count Norderator. I've covered him before. He's a post-millennialist, Tartaria, a big pusher of XRP as well too. So supposedly the first message was on October 2nd, 2023. And this is quoting directly from Matthew 21, 12, 13. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all of them, sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the temple, the money changers. So again, we have another on October 8th, 2023. I was a spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet. So anybody looking at first,
one thing I want to say, if anyone is not familiar with this U.S. debt clock web page, but maybe you've heard of the regular U.S. debt clock, that the physical one, on this page, they've now added all of these other categories of horrendous numbers where things just look like it's going to hell at every second, just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. That's how it's set up. Now they have a section on this webpage that's it's supposed to be an Easter egg, but it's really not an Easter egg. It literally is a giant button that says secret page or something. It is not hidden, but I guess for the quote unquote normies, you would think you maybe found a hidden page. So that's where this stuff, so when you see secret window, right? So the first normal page looks like this. You don't see the secret message. You click on the secret window, and that's where these cartoons come up.
And now it brings you to X. It brings you to their X account.
This is the most current one. This is the current picture there. So if anyone is not familiar with this is the U.S. Debt Clock webpage. They have a fake secret page that opens up into these cartoons. They've been doing a running narrative since October of 2023 that every new cartoon is kind of leading to this awakening of what the new financial system is going to be. So after years of making you afraid that there's no solution to this debt, now the U.S. Debt Clock webpage is giving you a secret page, giving you a secret message, telling you what the solution is going to be to this nonstop problem that they've been putting in your mind for 40 years. So,
and it's very interesting when you go when you want to change the day to go back and forward, it's time machine, because of course it is.
And also, because when you want to get real financial advice, you want to be told your financial future in a series of cartoons, not real information, not anything that looks like a financial report. No, we're going to tell you this through cartoons.
Definitely not a book.
Secret financial information. Here we go. So any kindergartner, because that's what they expect your mentality to be, if you're following this stuff, that you have about the brain capacity of a kindergarten. So we're going to tell you, here's your cartoons of how we're going to solve the problem of the Fed. And it's a new Fed, but we're not even going to explain it because it's JFK's face on the money. So it's all good. And Jesus said, this is your new money. So just accept it. So that's what this is. This is the setup of.
So right here we get cartoons with various amounts of information, right? So at first it seems like, oh, the Durst family are Christians, are quoting scripture. This is from Revelation. And hey, look, there's pictures of like, you know, how bad the Fed is and everything, right? And then you start getting into this. And we'll go over that, but go ahead and say what you're going to say, S90, then we're going to read about the Knights Templar.
Just real quick, it's, the plan has always been make everything terrible on purpose so people cry out for change, and then you offer that change that you want. It's real simple. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, and so here you have the Knights Templar safekeeping. Thank you for protecting us on our journey to the Holy Land. Can I interest you in any banking services? I don't understand. What's that? You give us your gold and we deposit it in one of your vaults for safekeeping and give you a paper receipt. That doesn't sound like a fair trade. Oh, yes, you could use the paper receipts as money and trade them for goods and services. What happens if everyone wants to redeem their paper for gold at the same time? We'll just move to the next town and start the same process all over again. And here's the Knights Templar guy. He looks mad. And here's the peasant. And the peasant lost his money.
It's a lot of that. It looks the cartoon style is almost exactly like that. Whatever that cartoon was that passed around Conspiracy Land a while ago about just this. It looks like it was drawn by the same person, frankly. Just the eyes of those cartoons.
We have another scripture, who is like unto the Lord God who dwelleth on high, but we have the old States of America flag, okay? And then we have Alpha and Omega symbol down here as well, too. So that's interesting, because that's definitely not Christian.
That also looks like, well, are they... is that I don't know if that's exact location of the X eclipse there, but they're putting an X over Texas in that last one as well.
That is true. Yeah, starting. So here we have the Tin Men from the Wizard of Oz, quotes, Wizard of Oz, and kind of be an allegory of gold and William Jennings Bryan. But the Tin Man has a third eye and actually a heart. He's got an illuminated heart, right? And so he's speaking the truth, right? Money creation is a scam only a wizard could love.
I'm just looking up that picture from his heart, because as soon as I saw that, I knew that's heart chakra stuff.
Yep.
So,
of course it is. This is looking very new age to me. So here we have CBDC, Federal Secure Digital Token Lockout. I'll take a medium twist cone. I'm sorry, but we don't accept cash. Okay, fine. Well, I'll beam it to you. I'm sorry, sir, but your purchase is coming up decline on our side. That's impossible. I got plenty of money in my account. I'm sure, but I see a special code, 186. There must be some mistake. No, sir, it means you're not allowed to buy anything of a sustainable or satisfying nature. Shucks, I guess that means no more crypto loading or silver stacking. And he didn't get his ice cream because his social credit score wasn't good enough. So he gets nothing of a satisfying nature.
He should have scanned his eyeball on the WorldCoin thing.
So he's going to starve to death. That's fear right there. And then we have President Lincoln.
Look how child level, like again, it's kindergarten level fear, right? You're not going to get the ice cream.
Yep.
I wonder if Joe Biden wrote it. He's the one who loves ice cream.
So we have them quoting from Abraham Lincoln, which I guess Abraham Lincoln is kind of like a light side president. The government should create, issue, and circulate all the currency and credits needed to satisfy the spending power of the government and the buying power of the consumers. By the adoption of these principles, the taxpayers will be saved immense sums of interest. Money will cease to be the master and become the servant of the humanity. The money power preys upon the nations in times of peace and conspires against it in times of adversity. It's more despotic than monarchy, but more insolent than autocracy, more selfish than bureaucracy.
They have to use cartoons because their version of history is completely cartoonish. Like Lincoln, like using Lincoln there is absolutely absurd.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And then we have stolen wealth in 1971, which it was good old Because
It
that
didn't happen back in the Civil War. It didn't happen when they were taking over all the other, the real rails of industry back then. The great wealth transfer didn't happen when they were building those railroads and giving themselves all the land grants. No, it happened in 1971.
yes,
That's when it started. There
that's
was
when it
nothing.
started.
Lincoln was right. Jesus and Saint Germain were right with Lincoln. Everything was great then.
And with George Washington, remember? So now we have them with Lincoln, and I mean, like, so we're gonna learn who are the Great Awakening presidents, and of course,
Lincoln left his spiritualist meeting with his wife to go make that statement, and then he went back to the seance afterwards, I think.
yeah, same as Reagan, same as all of them, right? That's the mythos that they're going to interject.
Isn't it funny how all these light presidents seem to be involved in all this spiritualism side
Oh
as
no,
well?
no, 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 no! They would never be doing divination and communicating with demons. They're good Christians. All the presidents of the United States are Christians, Ryan. That's exactly what I'm told in the history books.
Saint Germain is not a demon, John.
No, not at all. So we have stolen wealth, and then you have someone unplugging it with an X here and kind of getting the knowledge, the secret golden knowledge, right, of how the world truly is. Okay.
I just have to point out that a long time ago, Bill Cooper even said in one of his broadcasts, he was saying that X is the symbol of secular humanism, of the symbol of the enlightened man. Like none of this is by accident, right?
It's what's also a personal story for me that just resonates so strangely is when I was in film school, I had a great film professor there. She was Jewish, actually, Patty Zimmerman, but a great just theorist in general. And she was saying, and again, this is 94, 95. She said, everything is going to be X. She said, everything is X is trans. And she didn't mean like sexuality. She said everything, she was talking about that we were at the very beginning of everything becoming a multinational corporation and everything is going to be, and like I said, I was like, And ever since then, that is what happened. Everything went multinational. Everything went trans. Everything went X. And now here we are where everything is X.
Well,
Now
we're
it's
all about to get X'd out.
Yeah. But
So-
she was right.
So here we have Andrew Jackson, of course, destroying the second Bank of America, right? The second Bank of the United States, if I remember correctly. So of course, to them, they would be he would be a hero, right?
Yeah.
You are a den of vipers and thieves, and I tend to cut you out. And by the eternal God, I will route you out. If Congress has the right to issue paper money, it was given to them to be used by themselves and not to be delegated to individuals or corporations. Mischief springs from the power which the moneyed interest derives from a paper currency which they are able to control, from the multitude of corporations or exclusive privileges which are employed by their benefit. Okay, so they're upholding Jackson, they're upholding Abraham Lincoln, and then here you have the Federal Reserve Vault, and you have kind of like this quantum gateway, where and then it says this is where money comes from, and the person's like, I don't know. And then this person's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And this person's like, printing money out of thin air, what we're told, right? Quantitative easing, right? So they're kind of pushing that. And then this is very interesting. Matthew 24, 36,
What's that last one? What did that say on the bottom?
The previous one?
Yeah.
Let me go back. USDebtCloud.org, the amazing new mobile app, 3,000 live stats in your pocket.
Yeah.
So here, but as the coming days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man shall be. So instead of like everybody partying and the ark doors are closing and God's judgment's not gonna come, I look at this almost as being mockery. Carson said Trey Smith compared Trump to Jackson. Yeah, I could see that, Carson. I could see that. They're gonna. I've seen that before, actually, that they've compared Donald Trump to Andrew Jackson. They were doing that in 2016. And for one time, I really did admire Andrew Jackson because of that.
Well, one kind of like a disturbing side of this. Remember, we in discussing that, like, well, if you don't help build AI, you won't be benefited, right?
Mm-hmm.
This has those elements where it's like if you don't buy in early, and with these people, they really push people to invest in XRP. For some reason, this community has gravitated to XRP. They're not so much into Bitcoin, Ethereum, other things. They really are stuck on XRP. It's going to be XRP, and they keep throwing their money into XRP. We know XRP is one of the most manipulated of all of these currencies, right? And besides the normal manipulation of the supply, where the people who are behind it have a ton of it and they just dump on their followers and pump and dump it constantly. Besides that, you have the extra psyop of XRP where, oh, they're fighting and it's illegal and it's delisted and that's that even. Well, then you have and then people flip that counterintuitively. Well, that means that it's really going to go big. Then you have to buy even more and more and more and more and more. So like you have this, if you don't buy in now, you have this FOMO, right? This is like a spiritual financial FOMO that if you don't get in now, and that Noah's Ark picture is like that, you're going to be left behind.
Yep.
And
instead
this
of believing in
Old money,
Jesus,
and they're getting you to invest in literally nothing.
Yeah, thin air. It bits on a screen.
You're going from paper to nothing, to something, to numbers
and they're
of
selling
code
you it's better.
in a computer.
They're selling it's better to you.
And what they're telling you in these cartoons is, yep, that paper money is bad. It's based on nothing. We need to get rid of it. We're going to go to the quantum money. But now they lead these people mainly to XRP, not just crypto in general and not just digital money. And they don't even say digital dollar. And they have a weird setup that CBDCs are bad. So how are they going to really get out of that? But that's where this is, right? It's a financial, spiritual FOMO. You need to support the system now to really benefit. Not you'll benefit later. And they kind of drop the original NESARA stuff by the side of, oh, well, just because you're a citizen, you're all going to benefit, which is what it used to be. Now it's like you need to get in early. You need to get in early. You need to help build this.
And the doublethink is more than just, central bank digital currency bad, but new central bank digital currency good. We've also got things where people will be listening to that Yuri Bezmenov interview where he was interviewed by John Birch Society, G. Edward Griffin, and they'll point to that and they'll say, this is why America's broken. And, I posted a comment on one of these videos once and it was like, wait, I forgot which secret societies are good and which are bad. Like we're trusting John Birch Society, G. Edward Griffin here. And of course, no interaction on the comment because they're all I'm sorry, but conspiracy land is just as full of doublethink as quote unquote normie land or whatever, and it's the same thing. But I said that about the tier system, about how GESARA has its own, the tier 4 supporters will get their Saint Germain money sooner. Yeah, exactly. You buy in sooner. It's almost like multi-level marketing.
You got to be in NESARA OG to get the big airdrop.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a multi-level marketing scam almost, because it's like exactly. Your coin will go up when you get all your friends to buy it too. It's just this was obvious to me when this junk came out, when Max Kaiser with his little pirate vest and his anyway, that on RT was pushing this constantly. He would I know he's not the guy who invented any of this, but he's the one who got that into conspiracy land. It was Max Kaiser who did this,
put on by Alex Jones all the time, right?
All the time. Yeah, but then Alex Jones lost because he's like, Max, this coin's really stupid. I'm throwing it in the garbage. And Max is like, no, Alex, don't do it. Oh, God, man. And Max is going back on Jones a bit too recently because now he's completely managing the president of El Salvador's, Bitcoin existence at this point. He's become a presidential advisor.
That's crazy if that's really true. But the thing is, as much as we know about Max Kaiser, that could be true. That's what's crazy about it.
What?
That he could be doing that. He could be working with Nayib.
No, dude, he is. There's photos that was his swearing in party. I was at his house taking photos with him. They're on a first name, but dude, no, definitely not. Kaiser, whether or not he gets paid to work for Bukele, he works with him. He is an intellectual who supports him. He is Bukele's brain in the same way as Dugin is Putin's brain. He's not, but he's a small part of it. He factors into it. He has some influence. Not all the influence, but some. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry. Sorry about that, but yes. I mean, we have, how much has the CMP been involved in El Salvador? Remember the Salvadorian
That's
quote
what I'm
unquote
saying.
civil wars and death squads and stuff? I mean,
Exactly.
it's, I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
it's
I
nothing
was
new.
about to
It's nothing new.
any of the so-called Bitcoin paradise locations or where they really support Bitcoin, they are all major intelligence hubs, all of them.
Yeah.
Miami, El Salvador. It doesn't matter. You look at the Costa Rica. You look at these places, and it's like, okay,
Panama.
so hey, time and time again, that's what it is. And then
Yeah.
these guys are really, bad agents when you look at it. I mean, that guy can barely act, but it is what it is. And they have people believing such a cartoon military intelligence type of story of mining with the volcano. And I mean, it's literally like a cartoon, but hey, there we are.
But we're looking at cartoons. So you're dead
Exactly,
on.
because it's so unbelievable. They can't frame it with reality. They need to frame it with cartoon crap.
Yeah, because it makes exactly, because if you put a real face on it, people would actually think for a second. Anyway, the what was it? Oh God. It was to do with Bukele after he spoke at CPAC. All I saw on Twitter from conservatives was America needs more Bukele. Like, what, are we gonna hook up a Bitcoin mining rig on Yellowstone? Did I just give them an idea? Great.
Seems about right. I mean, look at this. So we have self-reliant disorder. Class today, I'm going to talk about self-reliant thinking and how we can plan to cope with it. So self-reliant thinking has the American flag with a heart in it, right? Is that where a kid thinks for himself? It's not manipulated by the state-run Orwellian learning factory with the hammer and the sickle for the communists. Exactly. It's a scourge in public education, and we're doing everything we can to combat it. It seems to me that
Recall that this family is involved with film producers who made communist-leaning films and then made documentaries to protect those communists afterwards. But okay, here we go.
Exactly. And it seems to me that you should be encouraging students to think this way. You just proven my point. The district wants every student to take this pill, it's a blue pill, matrix, Gnosticism, every day to stop the spread of this dangerous free-thinking plague. What does the pill do? It's a breakthrough medication that destroys the student's desire to resist authority, and it's a great aid in preparing you for a lifetime of submission. There's a picture of a sheep, but we know that as a Christian, being a sheep isn't a bad thing because Jesus is the good shepherd. We're all sheep. We're all part of the flock. Okay, so it's an inversion of that as well, too. Okay, but again, pushing Gnosticism through the blue pill, we're harking back to the Matrix. It's all just...
I'm really glad you bring that up because that is an inversion that I never considered much, but I think is really a powerful spell that, we are the sheep and that's not bad. And they've made that the number one bad term for a human being.
No, they tell you they want you to be a lion. They tell you they want you to be a wolf. They say it all the
Exactly.
time. Who wants to be a sheep? Who wants
and
to
you call your children kids, which is a baby goat. Yeah. I don't know if we're just kind of going with religious symbolism.
So it's quite interesting how they always say that all the time, and so I found that interesting. Of course, we have here United States Postage, quoting Woodrow Wilson. Interestingly enough, we have the postal office here who, shout out to Sound Impact. I do believe the postal office might play some sort of role in the quantum financial system. I don't know what yet, but I think they very much might. And also, the debt clock's going to talk about voting later on, too. So we have, a throwback to Woodrow Wilson, but postage related. And then we have the FDR gold seizure of 1933, Bretton Woods in 1944, the gold standard abandoned in 1971. So let's just forget, though, however, something I've talked about a lot, and that later we're going to see Kennedy everywhere, but Kennedy, through executive order, 11,110, where Scientologist Jim Mars is always like, this is the order that, Kennedy was fighting against the deep state and stuff like that. But if you actually read it instead in depth, you'll come to the conclusion that, no, this set up Nixon to be able to abolish the gold standard. Kennedy served him. Nixon hit a home run. And so for them to put JFK on all their money is laughable because, it set up the removal of the gold standard. But if you really think about it, maybe they're disclosing that it would be set up from the future for it to come back because people idolize JFK. They idolize, JFK Jr. as part of him returning in the QAnon operation, right? And
Mhm.
Nassar
It's
Gassara
literally the
and
one
everything.
figure they have
And
to stand on that they can try and say this system was legitimate.
Exactly.
Like it's the only person in modern memory besides the founding fathers that they can say, look, we did have a good guy in here.
and those three coins that they show up on one of these screens here, they have one of Kennedy, one of the moon landing, and one of Columbus discovering America. And it's like, wow, 3 frauds. Those are your 3 coins. Nice.
Yeah. That's so
Because
true.
they have such little to stand on to build this mythology. They're trying to build a huge mythology to get people to accept a digital money system. And this is the best they have. That, okay, they got one guy to work with, Kennedy. They can't even put Trump's face on here because they know that that's not going to sell. So they just have Kennedy, the golden boy. He's the only
But they
one.
put it
And if
in
you still
public
believe in America,
consciousness
you still believe in the achievement of humanity and the moon landing and all these good things we did, which are all
for
fake because this
60
is all
years. For
beginning.
60 years. And the moon landing
This,
ties back to
but this has
Kennedy.
happened when you build an entire fake history based on nothing but lies, psyops, and complete frauds, where you couldn't even do the first step of any of these things you said you did, let alone complete any of these things. This is what you have left: a cartoon world trying to sell people a total enslavement system as good. That's why it's ridiculous. That's why I'm not. This is why we're looking at what we're looking at. They have nothing to stand on, but they're trying. This is their attempt.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're selling to conspiracy theorists, people who do not believe the moon
Exactly.
landing is real, a moon landing coin. Like, just at the most basic level, it's stupid. Like, sorry.
But that's how far they have to go back to something that resonates as legitimate for Americans. Kennedy and the moon landing. That's how far back they have to go. And it's literally the only thing they can stand on. They can't do Reagan. They can't do Bush. They can't do Clinton's. They can't do Obama. They can't do Carter. They can't do Nixon. They can't do Ford. They can't do anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have on pepper scripture, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, which of course we do. Satan and his demons. But again, it's backed in this Nassara Gassara false light crap. It's not biblical because the exact same people that put this out, the spirit behind them is who we're at war against, the spirit of the Antichrist. It's ridiculous. This is mockery. This is mockery. And if anybody can't see it as such, they're blind. They're under it might be the grand illusion. It's mockery. All of it. So now we have Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison's our guy, right? I thought the free energy people hated Thomas Edison. And they loved Nikola Tesla. Right?
Yeah, supposedly.
So we have, if our nation can issue a dollar bond, it can issue a dollar bill. The element that makes the bond good makes the bill good. Also, the difference between the bond and the bill is the bond lets money brokers collect twice the amount of bond and an additional 20%, where currency pays nobody but those who contribute directly in some useful way. It's absurd to say that our country can issue $30 million in bonds and not $30 million in currency. Both are promises to pay, but one promise fattens the usurpers and the other helps the people. So now
The
because
usurers,
Edison,
right? So this is their, like, here's our smart guy telling you that usury is bad.
Yeah, usurers, not usurpers. My bad. I read it wrong. Yes.
Now, I'd like to see the Einstein quote on that.
See, when they have quotes from historical figures that lived, 200 years ago, they don't have to use cartoons to tell you because there's someone actually intelligent with a well thought out thought to present to you. Whereas this is like, we've done all we can do. It's not going to be enough. It's like, this is really the quality of their discourse.
The U.S. Federal Silver Price Containment Division, keeping the silver price as low as possible until it explodes in the new Gassar quantum financial system.
I'm still waiting for that Japanese gold stuff. I can't
And
believe
look at
that
this utter
came up
blasphemy
again.
right here. Look at it. If you have faith as a grain of a mustard seed, so you have someone who, they want money into some sort of universal peace sign and some sort of free energy sign, and then the faith can move mountains from the U.S. to the USA. Nothing shall be impossible unto you. It's straight blasphemy. Straight blasphemy. New Age garbage. And then we have just more, talking about voting and free speech and, right here, neither shall they say, see here or see there, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And so New Age, pushing of this, it's all it is.
Yeah,
And
they just take the quotes from the Bible that's going to support the New Age stuff they plan to show people later, which is like Christ consciousness stuff. Candace
They also
Owens.
keep using that glowing X as like the new thing coming. And if you write in that last image, right, that where the fingers are touching is the glowing X coming in, the new system, right? So again, that this new system is divinely inspired. This new financial system is from God. That's the main thing that they're trying to get to the message to Christians here, that this new thing that's going to happen, we're not telling you really what it is, but we're only telling you that there's going to be something big that happens and the Fed's going to be destroyed as you know it. And all we want to tell you is when that new thing comes, don't worry. And don't worry about any details. It's from God. Just accept it.
And that's the exact same playbook of the people on this same train here who are they talk about Nasara, then they talk about how the aliens are going to do the Nasara, and the Archangel Michael is coming back with his alien brothers to land in wherever Modi built that temple in India. John's seen this. I sent it to him. This is from a week ago. It's the same playbook.
Right? So they have this spectrum of people they need to sell this to. So you need to sell it to patriots, right? You need to sell it to QAnoners. You need to sell it to New Agers. You need to sell it to conspiracy theorists who don't give really a fuck about Christianity.
Zoomers.
All these people. So they are, right? They are selling it to full-on channeling galactic believers, and they are selling it to military QAnoners who never heard of any of that shit.
And grandpa who looks at the dead
when you see this version, they're not loading this with Saint Germain. You see the other version, they're loading that with Saint Germain. This is for, this is for the dumbed down Americans. This is for those Christians, but they have a full spectrum of ways to appeal this same dumb narrative to all of these groups.
And what that tells us is that they plan to be able to bring together all those disparate groups somehow, right, into some sort of state of non-conflict. Where they're not, where their disagreements between the Christians and the New Agers and the Galactic Federation people and all are all gone, and everybody seems to have one consensus, and it's going to be somewhere in the middle of all those.
Plan to do that, right? If you you are prepping the Christians here to accept Saint Germain without telling them Saint Germain,
and this is called the Violet Flame for anyone who doesn't.
Prepping them with the money here. This is just get ready for the money. You're going to be debt free. Everything's going to be great. You're going to have money. I don't have any of these worries anymore. That's all they're telling them. Just get the money, which is the main motivator for anybody, right? That's all. Anyone's main motivation is survival, your family, having money in the future, not having your money devalue in front of your face, right? So they're appealing to people's base level fears. That's what the tech clock has always done, that you won't have enough money to pay for your ice cream. That's what they're still doing. So they're going to use that fear, but this is to get them in. Now, once you're in and you accept this, and this new money comes and your whole life is turned upside down, you're going to be much easier and primed to accept, well, you know what? There's actually this whole spiritual side to Christianity you didn't know of. And don't worry that it sounds all new agey, because this has always been going on. You know, George Washington knew this. Abraham Lincoln knew this. Trump knows this. Michael Flynn knows about Saint Germain. You never heard about this, but this is the secret Christianity. This is the real Christianity.
Yeah. And it'll be the deism and the theosophy.
And you can't buy any food, and all you want to do is go and literally just feed your kids who are crying in front of you. You will absolutely take that Fed issue digital dollar wallet when you have no other choice. And you're pretty much going to be, you know what? This actually sounds right. There was this whole reign of Jesus. The conspiracy theories were right, but they were just telling us a little bit wrong. I knew there was something wrong with all this stuff. This is a great setup for them. Not for, it doesn't work on us, who we've seen this coming for years and years, but for people who never saw this coming and this hits out of nowhere, this works great for them. This works perfect for them. Number one, you have no choice. When this event happens, this black swan, and they're telling you now, here comes the black swan, guys. You didn't even know what a black swan was. Let us explain it to you a couple weeks before it happens.
Let's hold your hand. Let's hold your hand. We got Ron Paul on the Kabbalist Tucker show.
So now we're really hitting everybody, right? Now we're going Ron Paul. We're hitting everybody, full spectrum, everybody across the political sphere. Now we're going to tell you what this is coming. And what does Ron Paul say? Well, you know, What would have stopped this, Ron Paul? Or what should we do? We should have more education. We should tell people it's coming more, right? Not stop it, because you can't stop it. We should just say, it's like a cancer awareness. Let's just raise money to tell people this problem exists and not going to stop it. So no, here it comes. So anyway, it's going to come. And when it happens and everything is wrecked again, and everyone's home's value is completely wrecked, and they're locked in a terrible mortgage, they're locked in a terrible car loan, that's all that matters. It doesn't have to go further than that. You wreck people's instantly ability to buy food, to, your house is now worth 150,000 left and you bought it with, you're locked in a 30-year mortgage that you're never going to get out of. Well, now all of a sudden refinancing options everywhere, available everywhere, free money available for you everywhere. And they're right. It will be debt freedom. You know why? Because it's going to be programmable money from the Fed, and they're going to be able to print endlessly, print any amount they want, but it's going to be programmed. You only can, and they're telling you this kind of here. You're only going to be able to spend it on certain things. They're making it sound bad, but they're going to do just like they did in COVID. You're going to be able to, just like with food stamps, with welfare,
right here.
this
Issued
universal
as
basic income.
credit, spin into circulation instead of
So
issued
for
as
when
debt,
most people
loan
need
into
that money,
circulation. Yeah.
most people need that money, right? Most
Yeah.
people need that money. Most people are already outskilled for jobs. They're not going to be able to even compete with this job market. They're not going to start prompting AIs. They're not going to start to learn how to do this shit. So their jobs are being replaced. The average person. Now, they could start getting rid of them, which they're doing. They're useless eaters at this point, useless workers, right? The labor is redundant. You don't need these people to work anymore. So they have to, in the long run, be gone. But in the short term, they're still here. Right? If you're a social engineer, what's the problem? You need to get rid of these people, but they're still here. So for now, we got to give them some money. They're not qualified to do any jobs. Half of them can barely read. So here we go. We're going to give you the universal basic income. We can't do that, though, and print endlessly, because when we print money, we're going to give it to ourselves to buy assets. We can't just print money and give it to people for nothing. So once they have the digital money, they can do that, because not only can it be programmed on what you can buy and sell, or what you can spend it on, it's going to be programmed to burn out of existence. So they can give endless money, but it will burn out of the supply in
an
30
expiry
or
date,
60 days or 90 days, whatever they program it as. So that means there is no hyperinflation, right? So now the last step of this quantum financial reset is, what do they back the new money by? Now here, in my opinion, they are being disingenuous with people with telling them we are returning to the gold standard. Now,
well, we know it's not. We know it's not by what they've already said. This is what they're telling,
because that's what people understand. So in this series of cartoons, what they're giving them is what they know, which is silver and gold. But right here, this is where they're really telling you the new money revolution, right? Now, the new money is going to be based on, and what's is incredible to me is, like, I've been working in the crypto industry and doing events for years, and I got wrecked in the Luna collapse. I was working for Luna. I've seen a lot of this stuff on the inside. So when working to try and figure out how do you back a stable coin, one of the best solutions that came out of open source development in crypto was a basket of tokenized assets.
Yep.
Because if you just base a stable coin on the value of the currency of a real world currency like the dollar, what happens if that dollar collapses? Well, your stable coin value now collapses. So we need something more than just one currency to base our stable coins on. We need multiple things. So then people went into all kind of iterations of what those things could be. What are the best assets to back a currency? And right here, they're giving you the solution. They're saying, look, if we back the new dollar, the new money, on this basket of tokenized assets that all balance together on this scale, gold, silver, copper, precious metals on the left. Moving over, what do we have? Oil. I can't see it like big enough, but it's oil.
Wall Street,
food, corn, a house,
construction, free energy.
All right, so here we have, you have oil, you have the S&P 500. So imagine if the dollar is not just backed by the gold, which it's not going to be, it's going to be backed by the value of all these things balanced on a scale like they're showing you, right? So the precious metals, the oil, the commodities, the entire S&P 500 as one thing in this balance. Food, corn, all the food commodities,
natural gas,
the best real estate, right? Construction, an ETF based on construction, and then the new money itself, right? So here you go. This is what and again, this is the only solution that I've seen for several years that gets the so-called Western central banks out of the corner they've painted themselves into with the petrodollar. The only solution to the petrodollar is this picture right here that they're showing you. Because if they went to a gold standard dollar, like they're kind of soft selling, you can see there, that's not the real idea because they tell you the real idea here. The soft sell for the dummies is gold because you can't explain tokenized assets to them. The problem was if you go to gold and look at the other countries that would be competing against the United States for gold dominance, and United States doesn't have the supply. The UK doesn't have the supply. The supply is in the hands of a lot of countries that are affiliated with BRICS. So now you will see tons of BRICS misinformation, disinformation in these realms of communication as well. But for the most part, those BRICS nations have the gold. So you can't go to a gold standard. So the play is going to be, well, gold can be hoarded by terrorist nations. We can't just base the new money just on gold. So that we will use it for part of this tokenized basket. So you'll get people that will, okay, well, they'll understand that part. But the rest of all you see, and the rest of that is about 80% of what's really going to back the new money. Now, if you do this is a great idea. No doubt, because this was what came up through open source development of the best thinkers of how to solve the money problem. So yes, this is a great idea. They didn't think of it.
No. They didn't. This is BRICS. BRICS is doing the same thing. I've said BRICS was going to do this before they announced it. This was announced in a Pepe Escobar article where he was interviewing a Russian economist who is a big fan, John, of Anatoly Fomenko.
Seems about right.
And so this was what BRICS was already planning to do. And then point two, I wanted to really quickly bring up. I tried to bring this up earlier by accident in the wrong place, apparently. Danny Sheehan was bringing up Yamashita's gold recently, John. So that is one possible little conspiracy where, all of a sudden, hey, look, we found all this gold, found in quotation marks. But I don't.
And you got to give him credit there, right, for flipping the Jesus fish logo to be an X logo.
Yeah. It's so demonic.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. They really tried.
Upgrade. I was going to say upgrade your Jesus. Yeah.
And you have to, like I said, this is the new secret Christianity.
And the buzzword "we the people," right? And then
there are no lost books of the Bible.
Here. That last one there is really good as well. For showing the agenda.
John,
I will be done.
No. That is the Melissa Red Pill the World eschatology image. Remember, I showed you that when we did. Yeah. That's the sign, whatever she called it, the sign of Melchizedek, the mother who will birth the new Jesus out of Jupiter.
So new age.
No, she's a Christian, John. She's a Christian. What are you talking about?
Of course, my bad.
Yeah, correct yourself.
And
don't
we
be
have
mean.
Melchizedek and Enoch the Third, the Gnostic Enoch, Kabbalistic Enoch, Book of
Enoch
the Third, right?
Can I just quickly recount that because it somewhat matters? It's really short. The third book of Enoch from the Dead Sea Scrolls basically tells the story of Noah and his sons and their wives are camped out, and one of the sons, his wife dies, and so when Noah and Ner come to visit, her dead body has given birth to their child, who comes out fully clothed and fully speaking, and they call him Melchizedek. And then an angel comes and takes him away to prepare him for the end. It seems kind of not like real Christianity. Seems kind of demonic, and it just seems like it's related to all these all these stars and signs and all this astrology garbo. It's all related. If someone mentions Melchizedek, they're not talking about the real Melchizedek Jesus. They're talking about the fake Masonic one. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
No, yeah, they're not talking about us being in the order of Melchizedek and Jesus being the final priest in that order outside of the order of Aaron, and
they're talking about a false Messiah who will come and save your worldly body.
I mean Hebrew, should I say? And maybe the King of Salem, Melchizedek, being a typology of Christ, because his sacrifice to the one true God was bread and wine, with Abraham. But no discussion of that from a biblical standpoint. No. We're gonna make it esoteric.
It's an earthly the Masonic Melchizedek is an earthly savior.
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's related somehow. I can't help myself. It's somehow related to all this astrology garbage that the Q stuff is pushing.
So here we have there's one. Okay, here. What about this one? What have you seen this one, Ryan?
See here.
Ryan,
Again,
have you seen this one before?
it's like the only hint that they really give of what it's really going to be is the scale at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because with the top, it's like they're not really telling you. They're saying, oh, limited supply, anonymous, which it's not going to be anonymous. And they're using Washington again, just like the other one. They're using Kennedy again. It's like the same money, but they're trying to just paint it gold, and it doesn't really work. So, it's like, and I don't hear any of their people say basket of tokenized assets or how that's going to work. They show that picture a lot, right?
Yeah.
But they don't explain it, and they just keep saying gold. But
Where
and
we
if
have
you
think
follow
wealth,
real
like
world
Napoleon
events,
Hill thinking, right?
but however, in real world events, you have Larry Fink and BlackRock going, putting now and not telling everyone, yes, we're going to tokenize assets. Now there are the RWA, the real world asset coins starting to jump, right? Because now people are starting to understand that this is what it's going to be. It's going to be tokenization. It's going to be tokenization of real estate, tokenization of everything. So
With
they're
the
hinting, but
people,
my thing is like, why are they just kind of hinting around? Like, why don't they really tell people like what it's going to be?
yeah, you're right. Voting, CERN changing reality, leading to the Mandela effect, which is Gnostic in and of itself, promoting
Nostradamus
Nostradamus,
quatrain,
the Great Awakening,
quatrains.
and then of course, I guess in closing, leading to kind of like the newer um, um, ones here recently, which are kind of concerning if you look at them, is we have Make Them Possible Possible, which is like you mentioned earlier, Columbus, the moon landing, and JFK, from death to wealth. Okay, but then you have X everywhere, right? X is everywhere, like we've talked about this whole thing. But now we have Turn On to the New Kingdom. We have the
Here it is again.
Melchizedek, like you mentioned, Melissa Red Pill the World,
Ugh.
right? And the X for the eclipse over America, right? Who is like the Lord our God, who dwelleth on high. Now, again, the inversion
Surprised
to
they didn't use
that
Tim Leary for
would be
this.
Lucifer that fell from heavens, right? To them, right? And then, they have wake up to a new reality with the X over the world, over the United States, right? So to them, whatever is going to happen here we have the Great Jubilee, right? We've got to mention that we have Europe with the World Bank, and then America
That
debt
image
to
is
wealth.
funny because all of the bad money is literally coming right out of Germany in
Yep,
that picture.
yep, yep, yep.
You have the bad money, World Bank, what else is it? Is International Monetary Fund, or I think another one, all coming out of Germany, but the good money out of the United States only. This last one I brought up to the guys earlier, that I think that image in the back looks exactly like the WorldCoin orb. If you don't know what that is, WorldCoin is a cryptocurrency that was basically spearheaded by Sam Altman, who is the figurehead of OpenAI, Chat GPT and OpenAI. And WorldCoin was made, some of the other major investors were Sam Bankman-Fried and Su Zhu, people who have now been arrested and are jail. But WorldCoin still exists, and they are about to provide biometrics as a service in general for ATMs and other payment applications. But what they did was they went around to a bunch of third world countries and scanned poor people's biometrics to give them an airdrop. But yeah, that's what it looks like. It looks like a silver phantasm orb with a black circle in the middle where you scan your eyeballs into it. And you will need to do that as your identification for your digital ID to be able to interact and just get your coins, right? So this one is the newest one they have up. I ask anyone, what is that image supposed to be
That's what it looks like to
behind?
me.
Because it just looks like a silver WorldCoin orb. I mean, Yeah, but because it's a weird image to place there, right? And it's a weird way to place it, and it doesn't really look visually appealing how they did it. It's kind of it's there. Is it supposed to be like energy waves coming out of the X fish or what? And now at this point, we've totally eliminated all the other letters of the Jesus fish, right? Or they're barely they're
And
there, and
now it's
now
just
it's
an X.
that.
Now it's just an X.
Now we're at the point of the fish is just X, and we have what looks like a world coin orb to scan your eyes into the new reality. That's what I see on this one.
I mean, it's spelling out the beast system right then and there. I got no other word for it.
Mm-hmm.
And this ain't coming
No.
from some Q-larpers. This is coming from the ultra rich and powerful Durst family.
But
Now
they're
that
using the
that-
same Q-larping symbolism.
They are, yeah.
That matters. That's not excusable.
That background, the big background X, like the two arcs that like the circle X, that looks like the XRP X. Like that's how they make their X as well.
It does,
Rounded
yes.
X.
It does, yes.
Which almost looks like just from a science fiction kind of perspective, it almost looks like the fabric of the universe of two universes kind of touching together. You know, and it's kind of stupid, but you know what I mean. It's not a straightened up X.
That's what it looked like on the picture of the Adam's finger touching God's finger. It's like,
right. And I wanted to point out something. I went back and really quickly looked at Melissa Red Pill the World. That symbol she's talking about, she says it's a once in a 7,000 year symbol, and it happened on the 23rd of September 2017. Why does that matter to the debt clock now?
Yeah, and I guess in closing, real quick, it seems like Diddy's.
I think that was the beginning of that cycle, right? I remember what happened the first time. So when that appeared, it was supposed to be like the virgin.
Yes, being
dates, right?
The virgin giving birth or whatever. That's what she called it, the sign of the woman in labor. And then she says that Jupiter gives birth to Melchizedek or whatever. And I just immediately was like, John, we got to do something.
Yeah, he was. That is true. And I guess in closing, real quick, to let you guys know, because we are continuing with the false Great Awakening and the destruction of the Black Lodge or the Old World Order, and the showing of the New World Order or the Great White Brotherhood, is Diddy's. Multiple homes of Diddy's have been raided by the United States federal government and Department of Homeland Security on human trafficking charges.
I saw something on Twitter yesterday. People were saying that they've replaced a common. It was a big one, yeah. And someone was saying that they've replaced a phrase that I feel not compelled to utter, and it was like "no something." When you hug your bro or something, you're like no something, right?
Yeah.
And so they replaced that phrase with "no Diddy." I'm not like the internet moves fast, man.
Yeah. So now of course the Great Awakening people are saying they're trying to hide evidence just like they did Epstein's Island, you know. So I mean, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. And you got I noticed you retweeted Candace Owens mentioning Christ consciousness. That plays into all this too. It's all, of course it does. It's all the same thing. You are the X in the middle of the Jesus fish. You are the humanist. Alex Jones. What was that about Jack Posobiec? Jack Posobiec's new book, Unhumans: A History of Communist Revolutions. And then Alex Jones jumps in and says, well, what do you call communists other than that? Well, I mean, I may not agree with them, but they're still humans, but okay.
And right here, like you mentioned, the X with, the picture of God and Adam supposedly touching in the kingdom of God.
Interesting. It's the intersection.
When the proper translation is the kingdom of God is within your midst, which is obviously Jesus being there on earth. And I would argue, as well, too, that you have any born-again believer has the Holy Spirit within them, as they are a temple of God. But it's not the New Age belief that you can be God because, it's you could do anything, type kind of like mantra.
They also
are going to give interest-free loans to everyone through the Hebrew Free Loan Society. That's how.
Woohoo!
I guess so. Yes.
I like how they keep framing everything in walls of gold with the four angels on each corner. Right? This, no symbolism is accidental here,
and none of it's wasted either. All right, definitely thank you for coming on, Ryan and S90 again. Ryan, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you, sir?
I currently have my YouTube channel, Real Sports History. That's actually a sister channel to Real Music History that will be also debuting. But I have Real Sports Histories where you can find me on YouTube and a Twitter account currently.
Yes, definitely go follow Ryan. Go subscribe to his
On
YouTube
Rumble
channel.
too, actually.
And watch his videos. I'm not into sports, but I still like the production value and the information I've
I'm
learned.
actually not that much into sports myself, but what's interesting and I think important for the audience to hear is that what I found through all my other research, my music research, my network and analysm, and basically just looking at where this stuff comes from, sports ended up being like a missing piece.
No, it is. It's why it's so interesting because someone like me who doesn't really care about sports is still wanting to see where your information is leading you, and by you parsing these videos in your documentary. Like I want to know where it goes because it does tie into a lot of things that I've discussed on my channel over a period of time.
Yeah, my first video is the secret origins of American football. And it's really all the sports, but it shows that all of the sports were created, controlled, and run by basically secret society members, the elite, Skull and Bones, and the equivalents at Princeton, Yale, and the other places, and were created by those same secret society members, Freemasons, etc. And they stocked those sports with their chosen men for referees, etc. So they created the sports, they ran them, and then they used them for social engineering. It's actually a much deeper story than people would realize. So
Yes.
thank you, John, for the
Yeah,
plug.
very much. And I guess not to give too much away of that episode, but eugenics and so-called Christianity is definitely a discussion in that video as well, piggybacking probably Alexandria's video on the cultic origins of eugenics and evolution. So definitely worth a watch. We'll definitely have you back on, Ryan, and definitely have you on again, S90. God bless everybody who's listening. Take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.